Reservoir Dogs from 1992. Basically, it's the best film of the 90s. I mean, not just the film of the year, but the film of the decade. For my money, Tarantino's not ever been better than that. Which I think is because the nature of his ideas aren't long-form ideas. They are pulp ideas, best told like a sharp joke. And as his movies have got longer, he's sort of, I feel he's sort of drowned he drowns his own talent. I do think as a movie-going audience, we are always hungry for something great. And so sometimes when someone has been great once, we keep going back. It's like, I don't know, it's like you had a great date with some magnificent girl but then she's not interested in you anymore. But you keep a phone number because you think, well, once it was great. But yeah, Reservoir Dogs, beginning of the 90s, it did quite a few things. One, it was the beginning of the ironic thing, which is funny how the irony has now been lost. So it was a joke that the gangsters would like Madonna. But then we had Guy Ritchie, he married Madonna for God's sake, but referencing Madonna, but without the irony. You felt like Vinnie Jones actually probably does like Madonna, whereas Tarantino was just making a joke but the irony was played straight, and that's sort of been lost over time with a lot of Tarantino stuff. Is that everyone's in on the joke, everyone's a bit overconfident. Oh, we're in a Tarantino movie, we know how this is going to play out. Whereas what is really wonderful about Reservoir Dogs is that everyone's trying really hard and keeping their cards close to their chest, because no one knows what this thing is, really. No one knows who Tarantino is. So it's full of a certain magic. The other thing about Reservoir Dogs was that it was positive. It made you want to live. Regardless of the brutality of the film, that's by the by. What's important is the spirit of the guys. It was guys having a really great old time, revelling in their guyness, revelling in their narcissism, if you like. The other thing about Reservoir Dogs is there've been all these like indie movies stemming from Jim Jarmusch and all that stuff, and Spike Lee's thing, and Hal Hartley, all these people. What's he called? Slacker, the great romanticist, Linklater. So all these things have been happening, but none of that generation had quite got it right, because they were all still suffering from art. They were suffering from almost like a education, whereas a good actor, a good visceral storyteller should be kind of animalistic and going for the fun, going for the audience, like a good stand-up comic. They're not doing it for the posthumous reviews, they're doing it for there and then in the moment. And that was what was missing from a lot of those late 80s, early 90s filmmakers. Where those Hal Hartley movies found their place, I think, was the show Friends. Because I think what a lot of those late 80s, early 90s filmmakers, those indie filmmakers were trying to do was basically something that only really worked on TV. And so their sensibility found its right place in Friends, I would say. I think it was right that Soderbergh got the Palme d'Or instead of Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing's got a lot of banner-waving stuff about it, but the righteousness of your politics doesn't make you a better filmmaker, The other person from that generation being Linklater, who, again, superb, sort of got better and better, really, and when he does his personal films, he's at his best. I'll have to do a Linklater, actually. But as much as I love Linklater, the overwhelming joy of Reservoir Dogs is sort of unparalleled. And also, when I speak to younger people, like some of my students and people I've worked with, and it's one of those films that you forget the impact it had at the time. But for my money, in the 90s, you had Tarantino and you had Lars von Trier. Von Trier for dramas, Tarantino for movies, for excitement. And this one comes in at 1:39, something like that, 1 hour 39. What kills a lot of great artists is the desire to be seen as an artist. Why not do something in black and white? There you go, there you're an artist already. As I say, there are devices that give the appearance of art. If you read Pauline Kael's essay on Raging Bull, I'm still a bit shocked when I meet people who have seen a bunch of his last 5 movies, but I've not seen Reservoir Dogs. You know, it's like, I don't know. If you like Ridley Scott, do go see Alien. You know, but yeah, love it.